On this episode, we'll be talking to Tim Ward, CEO... Oh, sorry. See what I mean? On this episode of Let's Talk Social Allies, we'll be talking to Tim Ward, CEO of Opportuni, and he'll be talking to us about his business journey and all things tenders and bids, and we want to see where the business is heading in the future. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Hi, cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, no worries. Thanks for
for the
coming on.
drink.
Yeah, no worries. Right, so can you tell me a little bit about Opportuni first before we go into things? And then I want to talk about the beginning and how you got to where you are now.
Where to start? So there's lots I could tell you about Opportuni because it's been a bit of a crazy ride. We set the company up at the beginning of the first COVID lockdown, so March 2020. And then we did pretty much nothing for 9 months. We enjoyed all the usual things that everyone else did during lockdowns, like let's just go for a walk, let's not do any work.
Yeah.
While we wait and see if the world falls to bits or what's going on. Then 9 months in, we were like, right, we should get serious about this. Let's start building the solution. I think the reason we waited is because myself and Bill, my business partner, were waiting to see how things played out in our other businesses. And then for the first time ever, we had some time on our hands. So we put some time and effort and resource into building a solution, and the initial aim of what we were building was, can we help companies who want to bid for contracts find contracts? So there's so many opportunities that just pass companies by that they never even see, they never even know about until they see it in the news or someone else is delivering it. And that can be like right on their doorstep. Like if things go out there with Middlesbrough Council, say it was a security contract, how many security companies in Middlesbrough know that contract is there? Like I would say 90% of them probably don't even know it's there. So the first thing we were trying to achieve is how can we match great businesses to opportunities, and that's what we started out with.
That's amazing.
But the whole reason it came about was I worked in bids, tenders, helping companies put together submissions for kind of 15 years. Bill, my business partner, he specializes in machine learning and automation of processes. So we always joke that he was automating people out of jobs and I was trying to help companies create jobs. And
Nice.
we came together to try and create a tech solution that could help more companies at scale to win contracts.
Yeah, it's a really good idea because I was telling you earlier, like, I don't have a clue about tenders and bids and I find them so hard. But as I said, I was speaking to Tony, who works with you, and he made me feel so at ease, and he gave me really good advice. And instead of me just jumping into things like I always do, because I'm a really impatient person, he was like, no, just have a look at it, come back to me, like, let's talk about it. He was like, I'm on your side, and it's nice to know that you've built a business to help the smaller businesses as well. And I think that's the whole point of it, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got this big kind of global ambition, so we talk about a lot about what we do, and we're always talking about trying to show people how to find a tender, what to do with a tender. So finding an opportunity is just the first step, the first, like, I suppose, thing that entices people in. So you'll see an opportunity and you're like, what the hell do I need to do with this? How do I do this? How can I move forward? So a lot of what we do is about sharing as much knowledge and information as we possibly can. It's never about selling. It's never about come and buy this product. It's about, here's the information, this is what you need to do to actually pursue this contract or decide if it's right for you and bid for it. And that approach has served us really well. But our big kind of global ambition is we want to redirect 5% of government spend to small and medium-sized businesses. Yeah. That's in the UK, the US and the EU.
Is it the 220, is that your mission? 225 billion?
225 billion per year to small and medium-sized businesses.
Yeah.
Because if I talk to any business owner, they'll know, or any person, they'll know a great business who should be winning those contracts. So how can we make it so that that's accessible so people can find them, win them, deliver them, and trying to build out an ecosystem of solutions that fixes all of those problems that if anyone's ever tried to bid for a contract, will know fine well that actually just finding them is an issue. The tender portals are a little bit of a nightmare. Understanding the documentation can be challenging. Knowing what the hell to do with them.
Do you know what? I find them intimidating. Like you look at them and they're like a 36-page something, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. And luckily, Tony was there earlier, like, right.
Well, the reason is it's a legal process, and once you hear that and you look at the documents, like, yeah, I can totally understand that. It's like a legal pack of documents. It's a contractual agreement between the person who wants to deliver the work and either the council or the NHS or a housing association or university. And that's why I think it seems so daunting to people, but it doesn't have to be. And once you know how to navigate it and what to look at and what to ignore and that kind of thing, you'll see companies who win one contract then go on to win another and another and another.
Yeah.
We always say it's the biggest market that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, that's exactly right, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I mean, the UK alone, the government spends £290 billion every year, which is like just phenomenal on everything from like felt tip pens to new roads to fixing the roads to picking up litter, everything you can imagine. We've seen some weird and wonderful contracts go out.
Yeah.
But it keeps it interesting.
It does.
There genuinely is something for everyone. And the UK government as well has a target of spending 1 in every 3 of those pounds with small businesses. So they're kind of behind our mission as well. They've not achieved it to date, but they're making some good progress and putting in place some changes. But we're trying to accelerate that with tech solutions that solve some of those problems.
So your technology solution is to match the right tender and everything and bid with the right company.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
So one of the solutions is the tender portals, which we're working on. So if you've ever been on a government tender portal, a lot of them were quite outdated, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very user-friendly. The flow of information doesn't really happen in a very easy way. We think there's better ways it can be done, and we're working on that. Matching people to contracts, which we've dubbed Tinder for Tenders. So it's
nice.
The reason we dubbed it Tinder for Tenders is it's about not just matching companies with opportunities, it's like the right opportunity that they can actually win. Or Bumble for bidders.
Oh, I love it.
Grindr for growth.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Grindr for growth.
We're basically trying to get sued by anyone that's a matching platform for the
love
publicity.
It. Yeah, for the PR.
But then even once you've found an opportunity, that's just the beginning. We've then got a solution called Proposal Marketplace, which matches companies to professional writers. We've got a solution called Bid Now, which is something which we deliver in-house, which is an unlimited, no-win, no-fee bid support. And we've got some tech behind it that means it's not all a human process.
Mm-hmm.
It means we can help companies at scale to win contracts, and that's proved really successful.
That's amazing.
We've got a solution called Pro Finance. So once a company wins a contract, they typically need some finance to help them deliver it, whether it's a construction company needing a load of concrete or millions of bricks or whatever the case, or it could just be a company needs an extra van or a new office or some money to hire some additional people, because contract wins are usually between 30 and 40% of a company's turnover. Like, I know for a fact if we won a contract in our company worth 30% of our turnover, we'd probably need to invest something before we could actually deliver that. So Pro Finance does that, and then we've got a whole range of other solutions. Some are
so it's everything. So you've basically ruled off, you've segmented the market, you've got it boxed off.
Yeah, it's about what are the problems, what are the challenges people face in the process, and trying to address each one of them as we go. And then there's another 4, 5, 6, possibly 7 solutions that we're developing in the background, which all fit in together so that we've got the complete end-to-end.
Love
it. Because in the beginning, we were just matching people with opportunities, and they're like, this is great, I've got a contract, I want to win it, what the hell do I do with it? And we're like, go and find a bid writer.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I can't find one, so
they come back to you and you...
Yeah, and then people would win contracts. I mean, Prime One, we had a company that won this contract to build a tunnel for HS2, and he's like, I need like £7 million worth of concrete. Can you help us finance that? Have you tried the bank? Like, just little things like that.
Yeah.
So it's trying to understand all of the challenges. We want companies to be able to come to us, have the aspiration to win a contract, and find a complete end-to-end solution where they come to us at the point of, I've not found an opportunity, or I've found an opportunity, or I've won an opportunity. Any point that they come to us, there's a solution to help them progress and be more successful.
Yeah, it's such a good solution. You've literally, my motto in here is always figure a solution to the problem, and I feel like you've figured out like several solutions to several, like 10 million problems.
There's still a lot of work to do, but
yeah,
we're getting there.
Because I know you worked at Newcastle College at one point.
Mm-hmm.
You did business development, is that right?
Yeah.
and then you've done a couple more bits, haven't you?
Yeah. I always joke that no one gets into the world of bids and tenders on purpose. Like, there's no kids at school going, I can't wait to grow up and be a bid writer. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of falls into it. I originally studied architecture, worked in the construction industry, which I think was a good grounding for the world of bids and tenders and procurement, because you're putting together proposals that you're presenting to clients and presenting to councils and committee groups and things, saying this is what I'm going to put together, this is what we're going to build, here's the documentation. And quite often there would be a bid that go alongside it. If you're working on a community project, they'd say, oh, we want to bid to the lottery to get some solar panels or whatever. So that was a good grounding. I then went to another company, did something completely different outside of the world of architecture, and they said, we've got a secondment opportunity in the bid team for you. Well, my boss, I actually worked in Manchester, my boss called me over to Newcastle, put this piece of paper in front of me, he's like, what do you think of that? I was like, it sounds great. He's like, good, I knew you'd like it, you start tomorrow. So I did the secondment in the bid team and very quickly realised it's very similar to construction and architecture. Worked for a number of different companies and really enjoyed it. Didn't realise it was even something that existed. Like, when you're growing up, you never think about how does the government spend their money or where does it spend their money, and you don't think about them using external companies to deliver products or services. I always just assumed it was all done in-house. So I got to understand it and then thought, like, it's a great opportunity to have an impact here. My first bid I ever worked on, which I did like a minuscule amount, I was like the tea boy basically. But that was a £300 million contract win, and I was like, wow, I was part of that, even if I did just make the tea. And then it's like, I want to play a more active role in that. So I worked for a number of companies and then eventually set up my own business. Did that for 8 years or so prior to Opportuni, and just got a lot of satisfaction from it. It's very hard work, but can be really rewarding. Yeah. And the thing that I found most rewarding is working with small business. So, you know, you work with a small business, you help them win a contract, and then you see the impact it has. Yeah. Where they'll hire a few more people or take on an apprentice, and you see the life of the business owner change a little bit, and knowing that you've played a small part in that, even if it is just taking what they do, putting it on paper and helping them win the contract, is really rewarding.
It is. I mean, you could change people's companies, really, couldn't you? People's lives.
Don't let my ego go.
I mean,
but it has the potential. It does have the potential to change people's lives, and we've seen it happen. And that's why we wanted to do Opportuni, because we see the impact it has. And particularly like in a post-COVID world.
I mean, it doesn't exist now, apparently, does it?
It's not a thing. Not a thing, I don't think. Like, I feel there's a lot more emphasis on trying to support local businesses and support local economies. I feel like there's been a mindset shift of people. Like, I make much more of a conscious effort to go to the local bakers or whatever to buy things now, and just trying to support those local businesses in what we do in Opportuni is, you know, it's very rewarding. We do help the big companies too, but our main focus is SMEs, small and medium-sized businesses. You
were really helpful anyway, because obviously I messaged you and you were just straight away 11 o'clock at night, like boom. And I was like, I wasn't really expecting a reply, but thank you so much. You were really helpful as a person, so you can see that through your business as well, which is really nice. It must be really rewarding.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've kind of always focused on is, like, why am I in business? And there's lots of reasons you could be in business, and a lot of people think, oh, you do it for money or whatever, and a lot of people do it for money. But if you've got a bigger purpose, a purpose that's bigger than yourself, it's really easy to stay motivated. Like, I think there's a great quote, like, by Bob Marley, I think it was, where it's like, if you chase after money, money's infinite, so, like, what you're chasing, you're never going to achieve it. Like that, I don't know, I've really messed up that quote. But if you've got a purpose, like if you're doing something to help people, like, it's really easy to stay motivated and want to keep doing that. If you're doing it just for money, like, is there still the motivation there? Like, when does it end? Yeah,
it's nice that your motivation for your company is to help smaller businesses, and it's rewarding when you see them. Have you got any, like, companies that you've helped and that you've seen the difference?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been, I think we've won about £1.7 billion for companies in the last 12 months. That's companies who've never bid for a contract ever. They've come to us totally new to it, 1.7 billion in contracts now going to these smaller companies. And there's a really good one, a company based in Leeds, IT firm. This was kind of one of our earlier wins, which is why I think it sticks in my mind. They were an IT contractor, saw a contract they really wanted to go for in Scotland. Like, we want to go for this. And we were like, you know, it's a tough ask, but if you think you're capable of it, and they're like, yeah, we're really confident of it. We think we can be competitive on price. And they understood that as a small business, what they've got that the bigger companies haven't got, in that they can be agile, they can be responsive, they can make quick decisions. The owners are directly involved day to day. It's not just a contract that's going to get lost in many, many other contracts. It's really important to them.
Yeah.
They're like, we really want to win this. They went for it. They beat IBM and Accenture in the bid. This is like a small business in Leeds, kind of, I think there were about 6 people at the time. And wow. It was a multi-million-pound, multi-year contract. And they won that. They've opened offices in other parts of the world. And it's been a real springboard for their growth. And we've seen that time and time again. And those stories like really give you a kick up the backside if you're ever feeling a bit tired or like you can't be bothered. You think about the impact and it's like, okay,
that's amazing.
I'll just crack on.
Yeah, it's amazing. And your company's doing that and helping smaller companies springboard.
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately, it's their success. It's down to them. It's their capability we're putting on paper, and we're just helping them with the process. But knowing that we're being part of that is really rewarding, and it just makes you want to do it more and more and more.
Well, it is, because, as I said, like, it is intimidating when you're coming to writing bids and tenders and you don't know who to turn to, and you don't have that advice there about it. So it was nice to speak to someone who's really well trained in it and can give me the right advice. So it's really helpful. So I think you're doing an amazing service for small businesses.
There isn't a single place you can go to find out all the information. There's government websites, but government websites are always not the simplest to use or the easiest to find the information. So we're just trying to put out as much information as we can. Because one of the key challenges is the best company doesn't win the contract. It's the best submission that wins the contract. It's whoever can put it on paper in the best way and have a competitive price. So you could be the best builder in the world, but you're never going to win a contract to build something unless you can put it on paper in a way which matches the process and aligns to the questions, aligns to the contract, the specification. It's trying to help people understand that you're not doing something, you're not writing about what you do for you from your perspective. You're saying, what do they want, and writing to exactly what they want in a way which scores points.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be back in touch with Tommy about it. Do you know, you mentioned about having a business partner?
Yes.
How did you pick? Because I've spoke to a few people, and when you're picking a business partner, it's hard. Obviously, you have your differences. They have their weak points. You have your weak points. You have the strengths. You know, like. So I'm just wondering how you picked your business partner. Like, was it because he had strengths that you didn't, and how's that formed the business as it is?
So Bill's a very private person. He's not really out there in the business.
Yeah.
I get sent to the front to talk about it, and that's fine. But we met through our children. Met essentially in the playground. Well, we ran the dad's social club basically, and we met through that. Understood what each other did, and I was like, I've got this idea. I'm keen to talk to you about it. I talked to him about it, and he's like, yeah, it sounds good. Not sure if I'm interested. And this was initially, he had a lot going on. I had a lot going on, and then I think it was just circumstance and timing. Like COVID came about, most business owners for the first time in their life had more time on their hands than they'd ever had. It's like, okay, well, if existing business isn't going to happen as it has been for the last 8 years, what can we use that time doing to do something productive and something positive? Like during COVID, all of the government contracts, I say all, most of the government contracts just got extended by like 12 months, 24 months. So all of the bid submissions my company would have been putting together for clients just weren't there anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, I've got some time here. And Bill found himself in a similar situation because the sectors he worked in. I approached him initially because of his expertise in tech and building these really scalable solutions. He's worked for some amazing businesses, and some of the things he's achieved pretty phenomenal in terms of automating processes and understanding really complex tech solutions, and taking the humans out of it to make it infinitely scalable. So it was a good match. It happened like that, and we get on very well. We are very different people, but we complement each other really well.
Nice.
And yeah.
So I'm not going to be sat here with a brew dog and a cider with him then. Can he not come one time?
No.
Cider?
No, he doesn't.
I'll best off meeting him on the playground.
He doesn't do the publicity side of things, and that's fine. That's his choice. You know, everyone's different. I think we talked off camera about having to be that mouthpiece for the business, and some people are comfortable with it and some people aren't. And
yeah, well, I openly say, like, I find it so intimidating and scary to be on camera and be on video, and that's why I didn't like doing it before, but I have to do it for the business. And I mean, you're good at talking on camera, so you're pretty much a natural to it, so you're all right.
Thanks very much.
You've got a really active social media, and that's where I first saw you a couple of years ago, and you used to post really cool things. I'm not saying you don't now, but and you've got like nearly 10,000 followers. How do you maintain your social media strategy? How do you do that?
It's really hard. Like, I don't need to tell you, but it is really hard.
Yeah.
Like, trying to...
Your personal one.
Yeah, personal one, it's difficult because, like, I don't want to tell too much about my personal life, but I want to talk about what I do. But what I do is not really that interesting. Like, to the outside world, like, bids and tenders, like, it's hardly like the sexiest industry, is it? Like,
but when you start talking about it, it is really interesting.
It is. To me, it's really interesting. I get really passionate about it, and I can reel off all these facts and figures and the impact it has and stuff like that. But on the outside, it's like looking at like accounts of your insurance, like procurement. Like,
your profile doesn't look like that though.
I hope
you have
not.
fun things on it.
For me, I see social media as a really great way of raising the profile of the business. If I can reach 1 million people, then I have 1 million potential customers. If I only reach 100 people, then I have 100 potential customers. And my approach from my previous business was very much based around me. Now, the business, it's much more based around the business, and the business has followers and people that interact with, but I still try and use my own profile for that. I try to never sell, because once you start selling, you know yourself, you see someone who posts like on LinkedIn, they're like, oh, buy my whatever. It's like, no.
Yeah, but people buy from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you tell your story
yeah.
and share things that you think are interesting or entertaining, then it works well. So we've just done a big review of our social media in the business. It's like, how can we be either adding value to someone's life or entertaining them or informing them of something that's like, oh, I didn't know that. Because social media is so busy. How do you catch someone's attention?
Yeah.
And I think as humans, we are generally interested in other people's lives and other people's journeys and experiences. You know, most of the people that I follow are sharing like things that go right, things that go wrong. You don't want to share too many things that go wrong though, because some things you just need to keep in your business and deal with it and sort it. You don't want to look like, you don't want the customers to think the place is on fire. So it's a balancing act, but I go through phases of being more inspired and confident to be more active, and phases where I'm less active. And and it's weird because it doesn't necessarily reflect how things are going in the business. Like sometimes it'll be going really, really well, but I'll be really quiet on social media because I'm just busy. Yeah. But I do recognise that I should take the time. And I know for a fact that I really need to do more on TikTok because there's such a huge potential there. Yeah, there's loads. And I dabbled a bit and had some posts that did really, really well and got a few 100,000 interactions. Did you? I'm going to follow you. Oh, but then I was just testing. But it's a case of every platform. You just got to test and test and test and see what works. I'm glad you said that about the business and that you like went back and reevaluated it, and you had a look at your strategy, and you said about you wanted someone to feel something. So like when I say it to my clients, it's completely right. You've got to
people are so quick on social media to scroll past now, and you're like fighting for likes. So basically, if you're just posting crap, it's not going to work, and you have to think about it now, and you're like fighting all the time for this like or this engagement. So it's good that you go back and reevaluate with your team, like to make people feel an emotion.
Yeah, and I think, I'm sure I sent you a video, a guy called Ryan Holiday.
You did, yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of Ryan Holiday. He did this interview where he talks about when you're on social media, you can just be boring and vanilla, or you can actually have an opinion. It's when you have an opinion that borders on controversy that you get more attention than your brand necessarily deserves. So our previous campaign that did really well was you don't need an MP in your contacts to win government contracts. So now we're looking at different types of campaigns where you don't want to upset too many people, but it's easy for people to relate and go, oh yeah, I want to be part of that. Like when I look on social media, who do I like? I really like Innocence Movies. I think their social media is amazing. I'm sure it's not one person, it's a team, but it feels like it's one person who you're having a conversation with, and that person is absolutely mental. But like,
you feel like you know them. I love that when their boss changed the profile picture by accident to the marriage. He just got married and he changed the profile picture, and they put our boss changed it. Yeah, it's completely right. It felt nice, didn't it?
But then you think, is that part of their strategy? And if it is, that's really
amazing.
Clever.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's very easy for companies just to be boring or salesy, and it's constantly trying to evaluate what's going on. I think I always say the key indicator of our social post is it only people in our team who are interacting with it? If it is, we need to do something different.
Yeah. So do you try and figure out an emotion to get people on the posts, if you like, to get the engagement going? So you try and relate, like you said about the MP campaign.
Yeah, it's trying to be relatable to that wider audience that you're trying to target, which isn't easy.
Yeah. How do you so your target audiences are like small businesses?
Well, it's pretty much every business.
Yeah.
In every sector, but that's really hard if you just say every business, every sector. That's what a lot of people say. Like, you got to be more specific. We've tried to create personas of what our ideal customer is. How do they interact? Where do they hang out? What membership organisations are they part of? What are they doing on a weekend? Like, trying to create, this is our ideal customer, and then what type of content would that ideal customer look at? Because you can't be everything to everyone. But if you try and target the biggest group, then you're increasing your chances of success over going, let's post something everyone's going to like.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
It's such a challenge because sometimes you spend so much time and effort creating something that you think is going to be your grandstand post, and you post it and then nothing happens. And then something that you make, like when you're on the way to grab a sandwich and you post it and it gets loads of interaction, you're like,
why?
But then that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
We don't decide what's good, the audience decides. So you got to. So we consistently say we need to listen to the audience. How are the audience interacting? How are they responding? And try and adapt our approach and learn from what resonates with people.
I was adamant I was going to go viral the other day on TikTok because I posted my first TikTok and it just got like 93 views, and I was like, I was nearly there.
Next time.
I'll have a look at yours and then go from there.
Mine isn't massively business related. It was like an inspirational, like broad quote that did well. And now I need to actually work out how I can do something similar that's useful to the type of audience I want to target.
Yeah, well, that's what Mike, when it was saying on our last episode, Mike, when it was on, and he was saying he's testing out different pieces at the minute on TikTok, and he's just dabbling it, and he's going to see which one works best for the audience. And I like that because he's not just putting anything out, he's like doing what you said, where he's deciding what the audience likes through different content, and he'll go with what's best, like a bit of a strategy, really. Yeah,
I think it's not being afraid to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, who cares what anyone thinks of it? As long as you don't upset people or aren't nasty or anything like that. Like, who cares if someone thinks it's cheesy or stupid or whatever, because it'll be gone in an instant. Like,
well, that's it, isn't it?
A post on social media lasts 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It's the next day and
someone
post something different. Delete the old one.
Yeah, get rid of it. Get rid of the evidence. Delete it if you want. I was going to ask about clients, because I know you said, like, before we went on, you've got some big clients, and just talk about like how you manage to get them bigger clients, because being small businesses, they would love to get the bigger campaigns, or like I know myself, like I would love to work with certain people. So I'm just wondering how you, obviously you've rocketed since COVID, since you've started, how you managed to get the bigger clients.
So we've done a lot of different things. We spent a lot of money on advertising, testing, every type of advertising you can imagine. We had a radio ad campaign which did really well, actually, on LBC radio.
Perfect target audience.
We continue to have people telling us about our annoying song. We've done print media, we've done sponsoring things, we've done all kinds of stuff. We've done pay-per-click, we've done every different social you can imagine. But I think the main thing is just trying to tell our story has worked better than anything. We can spend endless amounts of money sponsoring award shows, but just telling your story gets people interested and doesn't have to cost the earth. And then sharing knowledge and information and putting some ad spend behind that works much better for us than making an advert and putting money behind that.
Right.
If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
you can use like sharing knowledge and information about something that people don't know about as kind of a lead generation tool to get people interested. And then you can be more salesy down the line. But
Yeah.
it's just getting that hook of, we're going to share something useful to you. We actually bought a website called BidStats.
All right. Okay.
BidStats gets millions of visitors every single year, and that's been really useful to drive leads into the business as well. So it's a free to use tender search platform, and then there's paid options on the back end of it if you want automated notifications, or if you want really clever smart matching in the Tinder for Tender style, Opportuni. But that is used by a hell of a lot of larger businesses. There's value in it for businesses of all sizes. So we've got a lot of data and analytics that the bigger companies want, which they've been using on there, and that's drove thousands and thousands of inbound inquiries. So we don't do any outbound kind of marketing activity really at the minute. We've never made a cold call, but I guess the government wants to spend with small businesses. Small businesses want to win contracts. We're promoting a solution in the middle which fills that education gap, and that's just drove people in our direction.
I think it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were saying about advertising, and you said about your song, can you sing your song? Because I haven't heard it. Have you got it out?
Hold up.
I want to hear this.
I'm not singing it.
Go on.
I'm not singing it, but I can.
On LBC as well.
I can play it. Yeah, we ran it for 6 months.
You weren't getting past that question.
Definitely not singing it, honestly.
Who made this song up?
We got a professional to make it. It's really annoying. So this was on LBC, and there was a time where every time we got in a London taxi, if I had like this top honour, I'd be like, "Have you heard of Opportuni?" Like the taxi drivers in London would be like, "Oh God, I hate that song." And we got a bit of grief on Twitter about people saying, "If I hear that song one more time, I'm gonna come down there and
Well, it's all good though, isn't it?
But if you think about like your childhood and listen to the radio, what are the radio ads you remember? Like the ones with songs like
absolutely.
Check a Trade or
Wherever you go, it works.
Moonpig,
yeah.
Funky Pigeon,
Absolutely.
South Cleveland Garages if you're from
I was
the
just about to
Northeast.
say South Cleveland Garages.
So we made this very annoying song.
You're a visionary, an entrepreneur, a passionate business owner, driven by results and poised for growth. You need Opportuni. They easily match businesses of all sizes to winnable council, NHS and national government contracts. Just sign up, match with tenders,
It's
and
got a song
they'll
at the
help
end.
with the rest. Now is the time.
It goes on a bit.
Seize your Opportuni. Get your free trial at opportuni.com.
Opportuni.
So no wonder you wouldn't sing it to me.
No, I wasn't going to sing that. But we thought we needed a song because 2 reasons. One, it sticks in your head and is annoying.
Yeah.
And 2, how do you spell Opportuni? Like you need a song that spells it out. Otherwise, we needed to say go to findacontract.com or something like that. Whereas we didn't want to push a different website. We wanted people to go to our actual website. So we had opportuni.co.uk was our main site at the time. And then .com was only advertised through the radio ads, so we could monitor the impact of the radio ads. Because otherwise, how do you know where people are coming from? Because they're not clicking a link, because there's no analytics. It's just, so we knew everyone that signed up through .com was going through the radio ads.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it worked very well.
Well, clearly, if people are stopping you in a taxi, that's all right.
It went well. We'll probably do radio again, I think.
I think you should and play that song as well.
Yeah.
Change it up a bit and just be like, we know it's annoying, but who cares?
Yeah, just play the song on repeat for 30 seconds.
Yeah, fine. Love it. You have to sing to it next time.
I'm not going to sing it.
Tell me about the culture at the work, you know, like recruitment and things like that. What are the staff like? I know you've got offices everywhere now, so...
It's been a strange and challenging time building a business during COVID, as it was for everyone. People talk about return at the office. Well, we never had an office. We were established when offices weren't a thing. So we've hired people. Instead of hiring people and saying, we need someone within commuting distance of this place, we were like, we need the best person at doing this, and we couldn't care less where you are, as long as you can work to UK time and you can do a good job. So we've ended up with people absolutely everywhere, like Glasgow, Edinburgh, North East. We've got a few people in Teesside, Manchester, Bristol, Bath, Birmingham, and then as far afield as kind of the Netherlands and all over, quite a few people across different parts of the world.
So what are you going to do for your staff night out at Christmas?
We've now managed one. But that creates a challenge in terms of building a culture, because everyone works separately. And I think we only really realised it when it got to Christmas and everyone wanted to get together, and we're like, it's just not possible. It was going to cost us like thousands and thousands of pounds to send people from all over the world. At the time we had people in like Finland, Ukraine, Amsterdam, Malta, Netherlands, stuff like that. We just thought it's not practical. It's not. Yes, it's a good use of money because everyone will love it, but in reality, does anyone want to spend like 20, 30 grand on their Christmas party?
Well,
there's a lot more you can do in a business with that money to be more effective. So we did a Secret Santa instead, and we give everyone in the business £200 and pair them up with someone, and then they had to buy gifts for that person. It's only at that point we realised that we had a bit of a challenge, because we realised that people knew each other, but they didn't know each other. Like, they knew each other as in, I know what you do, I know you're good at your job, I talk to you about your job every day, but they didn't have those water cooler moments. They didn't know what that person was interested in outside of work or their family situation or anything like that. So we tried to put something in place to address that.
Right.
And we hired someone who's our head of HR and culture. And then we do all kinds of crazy things, like every week or every other week, we do different tasks where you put into groups with people. And it's usually about questions about people in the team that you have to answer that you don't know, and you have to go and try and find the answer. We sent everyone a box with props for doing different tasks in the business. We've had different types of competitions and all kinds of weird and wonderful things. So everyone in the team has got this kind of shoebox full of stuff, and half of it they're like, what the hell is this, and when am I going to have to use it? And at some point, Sally, who's our head of culture, will be like, and this week we're going to do blah, 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 blah. So we take some time out, usually on a Friday, and it's worked really well in making people interact with people they wouldn't interact with. So in the team, we've got kind of customer success, sales, marketing, tech. So we've got all these different teams. The bid writing team, for example, do they interact with marketing? Not that much. So sticking them in a team together and making them learn about each other in a fun way has been really useful in trying to build a culture where people get to know each other, they get to know things about each other, and they're forced into situations where they have to become, I guess, in a friend situation rather than a work situation.
I think that's so amazing that you've built a company that doesn't have an office, but you've got like 50 staff or something.
Yeah, we've got the only offices we've got some co-working spaces. We've got some WeWork space and stuff. We've got an office in Teesside.
Yeah.
We've got an office in Belfast because we've got a few team members over there, and they were keen to have a space to work together.
Well, Game of Thrones is over there, the tour, and I've
Okay.
been there. So if you want to go on a Game of Thrones tour, I will happily come over, see our workspace, and we'll go to the Game of Thrones tour together.
I've never been to Belfast.
Haven't you?
No,
What?
no.
Do you watch Game of Thrones though?
No.
Really? Oh my God, Tim.
No,
I feel
I've
so bad.
I've watched part of Game of Thrones.
Okay, at least you've watched a little bit. You went really down there, but then you've
It's not
got
my thing.
Isn't it?
No.
You don't watch TV though, do you?
No,
Oh God.
it's a bit boring, isn't it?
No, not Game of Thrones. No, it's actually my life.
No, I mean it's a bit boring that I don't watch any
yeah,
TV.
yeah, it is, yeah.
People talk about TV programs and they're like, have you watched this series? Have you watched
Yeah.
this? And I'm like, no,
No.
none of it.
At least you just say that you don't though. At least you don't start it a season through and don't finish it. Ben. I can't talk about anything with him because he just starts things an episode and then doesn't finish it. Oh.
No, I don't even start. I'm too impatient.
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch something and I'll be like, if it doesn't entertain me in 5 minutes, I'm like, I'm done.
Have you ever had a low point in the business? Everybody has low points, but I'm just wondering like what yours is.
Yeah, there's been plenty of low points in the business. There's been lots and lots of challenges. Like growing that quickly isn't normal,
Yeah.
and knowing what to do is really challenging a lot of the time. Like a year ago, was I equipped with the skills to manage a business of this size? No. Am I now? I hope so. If we grow by another 50 people, like, do I know what I'm doing? I hope so. I'm certainly going to try and do my best to like upskill myself and learn from others. But yeah, that's quite daunting. Knowing that many people are relying on you and you've got to try and do the right thing and you make mistakes. Low point in the business, I don't know. We've had some real challenges where, you know, we felt. I think when we initially had the tender matching solution and we're matching companies to opportunities, and we had a lot of people interested and they'd get the opportunities. At that point, we were like, we need to do something more. We need to give people that actual tangible result of them winning a contract. At that point, we were like, what the hell do we do? Like, how can we add more value to this? Because it's never going to get to the size we want if it's just matching companies to contracts, because it relies on that company having the skills and experience to actually follow through on it and win the contract. Otherwise, people are going to sign up and be like, nah, it's not for me. I don't know what to do now. Thank you. That point, I think, I don't know if it was a low point. I think it was just a moment of, oh my God, what are we going to do? And we try and always listen to the customer, talk to the customer, understand what they find value in, what they don't. And at that point, we tried to develop a solution which addressed that in some way. But at that point, we were kind of like, is this ever going to get to the point we want it to? And then we've developed solutions off the back of that, and I think it is.
Yeah.
Any other low points? I don't think so.
That's a good low point. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's a good answer.
Yeah, it's when you realise, is my product going to do what I hope it was going to do?
Yeah. Cause that's a tough question, isn't it? Really, like when you're through the business as well, and you have to like really evaluate what your product is and your product offering and things.
I mean, if you think about it from the point of view of another sector, like imagine you're an electrician and all you do is turn up with the wires and go, there you go.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. I got it.
Like that's what we were doing. We were going, there's the opportunity to win an amazing contract.
Bye.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. There you go.
And then realizing we had to develop something more and trying to develop something that could also scale at the same pace that everything else was scaling at. That was a challenge.
Yeah.
But a good challenge.
A good challenge. Yeah.
I think we're lucky that in the team we've got lots of very optimistic people, lots of people that have been there, done it, and can guide us through.
What do you look for in? Because I know you just said like optimism. I think enthusiasm and passion is so big when you're hiring. So what do you look for when you're recruiting?
We try and find people who it's not just a job to them; it's something that they really love. because then it becomes so much easier. So a prime example is we were hiring a videographer and we were advertising and we were like, we need someone who's done it for like 30 years and is amazing and can do this and that and the other. And then we got an applicant, our current videographer, and he's not done it 30 years, he's not even been alive 30 years. He's a young guy, but what he'd done and achieved in his life today was amazing, and what he created was amazing. And it was because it wasn't just a job to him, it was his passion, it was like his calling in life was to create these videos. And even if someone wasn't going to pay him to do it, he'd still do it because he enjoyed it. And that's been I think a good move, choosing people that it is their life's passion to do that thing.
I think it's important that you hire people that want to grow with the company. So like it's with me, I say, you know, you're on a journey with us type of thing, and I want people to be enthusiastic. I want them to come in and be creative every day and say they've seen this, let's do this and stuff. Yeah. I think that's really important.
Yeah, bringing ideas, going home and then coming in the next day and saying, I watched this YouTube video about my job and I think we should do this. Like that's so valuable, because otherwise who's going to do that?
Yeah.
Like me. Well, am I going to have to go and do that for every department?
Exactly. It's like the videographer, you said, he'll do that.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I've bought this piece of equipment because I really wanted to know how it works and what it does. Or I've come up with this idea, or I've been watching this and this and this, and I think we could do something like this. Like bringing those ideas to the table and wanting to push the boundaries of what he's doing, and continually getting better.
I love that.
That's really important.
Do you know when you were saying about if you about your skills, and if you got to 50 people and you got 100, 200, how do you learn? Like, do you have to learn from someone else? Do you watch videos? Like, how do you have to NED? You know, like,
there's quite a few different things. We've got an advisory board that's really useful. So we've got some people that have been there and done it. We've hired people who are really good, experienced people, as we call them, the grown-ups in the room. So we've got a guy called Jonathan Gold, who's our group director. Jonathan was like running businesses before I was born. I didn't say that, sorry, Jonathan.
So he's the grown-up.
He's the grown-up, yeah.
Right.
He's definitely been there, done it. Like he's not in the early stages of his career. He's like coming towards his point where he's going to retire. I'm saying this all wrong. No, he's been there and done it again and again and again and again.
He's got the experience.
Like his career is longer than my life has been.
Yeah.
So he's seen those things and he can guide us. And when we're making mistakes, he's like, guys, think about this, or what about this? Or do you think it's wise to? And we listen. Like, we don't know everything. I'm lucky that Bill is a similar mindset in that he's like, we need to hire people who are professionals and listen to them and learn from them. Me and him bounce off each other a lot in terms of, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you read this book? Have you watched this video? So that's really useful. We're always, I would say we send something to each other probably every day, which is, have you seen this? Have you read this? Like articles and stuff like that. We've got a guy called Martin now, a CFO. He's got significant experience and he's come from a more corporate environment, but in terms of putting in place structures for growth, like it's all fun being like, we're a new startup and it's all kind of loose and free and everyone's the boss. But then at some point, when you've got more people, you have to have some structure and it has to be a bit more rigid. And we hadn't necessarily done that ourselves, whereas Martin's like, no, these are the kind of processes you need to build to scale so that it doesn't just go absolutely mad and you have people running off doing whatever the hell they want. They have to work within certain boundaries, so you can give them freedom, but there is governance. Like someone can't just go off and spend like 50 grand on something without you knowing about it, that kind of thing, or build a process that just doesn't fit with the values of the business or anything like that. So there's that. And yeah, continually trying to talk to people in a similar position, but 2 steps ahead of us. Like, we're looking at the American market, and our key thing is who's done that, who's been a business in the UK and scaled and gone to America and been really successful in the US market, who understands the culture and the differences and the pricing structures and the marketing in a way that we can never understand without going there and doing it. You can read and read and read about it, but if you've been there and done it, it's so much more valuable.
How do you tackle that? Do you have to hire someone over in America, or are you going to keep that secret for me?
There's a lot of different things. So we've had some investment in the business, so we're talking to investors to try and understand how they've supported companies to do that. Other companies within the portfolio, so companies that they've invested in who've done it, we're trying to talk to them. What was your experience? What went good? What went bad? Can we learn from your mistakes so we don't repeat your mistakes? We hired a researcher to do some market analysis, so sending out questionnaires to thousands of businesses to understand their thoughts on what we're offering, what we're potentially going to charge for it, how it would work, what they would see value in, what they would pay for it, and that's been really useful. We did that for the UK market, and we've done it for the US market. The UK it helped us refine, and in the US, hopefully it'll help us not make
Did you get
mistakes.
good feedback from the US?
The US, yeah, it's got very similar challenges to the UK. It's got similar challenges, just different culture, I think, is the main thing. Like, we always joke about the differences in marketing, and this is a massive generalization, but I think most people are like, yeah, I get that. In the UK, if you market and you put like, I don't know, your average business owner in your marketing, people are like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Because in the UK, I think our mindset is, well, I'm better than that person. And that's a little bit of the mindset from the UK culture. Generalization, not everyone's like that. And in the US...
Come for me.
yeah, don't come for me. It's just an opinion. In the US, it's different in that the American dream is a big thing. And it's like, in their adverts, they put like these perfect people with amazing teeth and chiseled abs, and they've got the perfect house, an amazing dog, perfect children, and those people are in adverts. And the American mindset is, wow, they've got the American dream. I want to achieve that, so I aspire to be like those people. And those little changes and understanding those changes between the UK and the US are really important.
So do you have to have someone there with chiseled abs holding like a tender or something? You know, one of your adverts singing your Opportuni?
I don't know.
Opportuni song?
I don't know. Like, I think in general, the US mindset is much more encouraging. I talked to this guy in the US. So last time I was there, I was like, oh, he's from the UK, but he lives in the US. He's lived there for years. And I was like, what's the difference? And he said, if I was in a bar in the UK and I had the best idea in the world, and I was like, I'm going to come up with this amazing solution. And his idea was, if I had a smart fridge that tracked everything that I take out of my fridge and put it into my shopping basket so that at the end of the week I can look at what I've used and I can just press reorder and it gets delivered. He's like, that's an amazing idea. You go into a pub and you tell your mates about that, they'll be like, you're daft, aren't you? You're not going to do that. What a load of rubbish. He's like, you go to America and you suggest the most stupid thing and people will be like, that's amazing. You can do it. You got this, guys.
Optimism.
Yeah. And understanding those differences is what's going to help us. Like in the UK, we're used to subscription models where you pay for something and you get the rewards down the line. Our understanding is the US is a little bit more like, I'm not going to pay for a subscription unless it delivers something. So the freemium model is much more prevalent. Like, you get something for free, but then when you see the value, you pay for that value.
Yeah.
So there's a lot we are still working on and getting our head round, but we'll get there as long as we keep talking to people and testing and learning.
You mentioned books. You and Bill send books.
Yeah.
Do you have any books that are your favourite that you can recommend?
Oh, yes. I'm a big fan of The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I think that's amazing. I love anything Tim Ferriss does. I think he's very good at thinking in different ways to the rest of the world. He takes problems, flips them on the head and asks them in a way which makes you consider things differently. So 4-Hour Workweek, but then he's also got books, Tribe of Mentors, which is a great book. Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson is great. Russell Brunson's the founder of ClickFunnels. It's a really good book it talks about how you can turn followers into fans. It's really interesting. And if you look at what he's done with ClickFunnels, like, he's genuinely lived it. People that use ClickFunnels are like fanatics of their brand. They make like their own T-shirts. They have these competitions. They call themselves the funnel hackers. They're like, it's as if he's some kind of pop star, and the business is some kind of like thing that they are part of. He's almost created a cult, and the book explains how he kind of is taking it from customers to followers, and that's a brilliant book. Probably underappreciated, because you can actually get it for free online. You just pay the postage, but it's really good.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
It sounds really good.
it is truly good. Yeah, trying to think. There's lots of very good books.
What about influential people? I know we spoke about it a little bit, but is there anyone who you look up to, or you want to meet, or you think that they're really good in their field, or anything like that? Other than us in here.
Just the social allies, guys. This is my dream come true.
Yeah, you know.
I just always wanted to be here.
We'll give you a bag and everything.
I don't know. I think I've met quite a lot of people that have done well in business, and I think the main thing is just to realise that they're just people, like just the same, and they're just trying to work out problems just the same. And any business, no matter how rosy it looks, has loads of challenges. And I think if anyone says they don't, they're lying.
Yeah.
Influential people, though, if we go back to books, I really like Stephen Bartlett's book.
Oh, me too.
I think it's
yeah.
a great book. Jay Shetty, his book, I really like that. That's more of a kind of personal development type thing. I've already mentioned I'm a big fan of Ryan Holiday.
Yeah. I watched his. That's the link you sent me, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a load of really good books as well. But he promotes Stoicism and living through the Stoic principles, and his books are fantastic. He's got a book called Obstacle is the Way, which is really good, which is about, I won't try and summarize Stoicism in in a sentence, but just read it. It's really good.
I'll read it.
I'm a big fan of him. I'd like to meet him because I feel like I'd have a lot of questions for him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he could add a lot of value.
What about plans for? I know you can't tell me on all the plans for the company, but have you got any that you can say?
Yeah, I mean, our plan is just to continue scaling.
Yeah.
It's no secret that we're going to the US, and after that, we're going to the EU. We try and expand into European countries. We want to keep expanding the product range. We want to keep listening to what the customer says and develop as many solutions as we can that address the full kind of ecosystem of how to find, win, deliver government contracts. Just keep growing as quickly as we possibly can.
Yeah.
We've got that target, 5% redirected to small businesses in 5 years. We're a year and a half into it.
It's mental, isn't it?
So we just got to keep going with it. Stay true to our principles and our mission. And I think as long as we do that and don't deviate from it, and then I think we'll continue on that track to achieving it. We're getting more and more interest every single month. There's just a hell of a lot of hard work to do between now and then.
A lot.
Yeah.
Look at there.
Yeah. But the US is really a really interesting challenge. It's got a lot of similar challenges to the UK, but just a little bit different. And we can see a big opportunity there to cause some disruption.
If you weren't doing what you were doing at the minute, what would you be doing career-wise?
Okay, so if I wasn't doing this, what would I do?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a footballer.
You can't say it.
No, I did, genuinely. Like,
Pete tried to say chef, and I said he wasn't allowed to say it because Bill had already said it.
like when I was younger, I played for Hartlepool youth team and stuff like that.
Did you?
And, yeah, and my plan was always that no matter what, I would be a footballer, because I would just go to a country where the standard was lower. This is my plan, right? If it didn't work out, I would just go to like, okay, where is the league? A little bit crap. Oh, okay, it's not very good in Thailand. I'll move to Thailand and be a footballer there.
Yeah.
So I was going to like move down the countries in terms of like the best leagues to play in until I found my level so I could do it for a living.
All right, you can say footballer.
But then I had some league operations and it just wasn't possible.
Oh.
If I wasn't doing this, I don't know.
Look, we'll say footballer.
Yeah.
You can say it.
I genuinely don't know what
We'll
I
knock
do.
Pete off. Well, yeah, that's all my questions. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.